Hi guys, this week we're going to learn how to make a roux, R-O-U-X, and that's a base to start any type of cream sauce that you want to make, and that base is melting a fat, which we're going to use butter. Many use butter, lard, different kind of fat options, mixing it with flour and cooking that base together, and then slowly adding a liquid. In this case, we're going to add milk, and it creates a cream sauce. So starting with a roux base and making a cream sauce. There's different kind of roux that turns into different kind of sauces. We're going to do a white sauce, which means that we're not cooking the flour and butter mixture very long, but we're going to add our milk and get to the cream sauce. So what I'm using today or making today is mac and cheese, but we'll use this base sauce for many things in our kitchens coming up this semester and in the future. So I'm going to turn my camera so that you can see what I'm doing here. I already have things started. So I have my pasta cooking here, and you don't want to start your sauce until you have whatever it is cooking, because it doesn't take that long to make your sauce. So in here I have my stove top. I'll turn it on to medium or a little less. I already have my butter melted, so you can see how it's liquid there. So I melted 2 tablespoons of butter, and the key is to use the same equivalent amount of butter and flour. So 2 cups of melted butter, or 2 tablespoons, sorry, and then 2 tablespoons of flour. And what I'm going to do is take my whisk, and I'm going to mix all of that together. So it'll be kind of thick. So you can see that it's thickened up and there's some little lumps in it. And I'm just going to let it cook for a second, see how it's all boily. And it's even getting a little thicker because your flour is your thickening agent. So see, I've cooked it just a little bit. Now I'm going to take my milk. And when the recipe says to add it slowly, that doesn't mean I'm going to take my whole amount and pour it in there slowly. I'm going to pour a little bit, and I'm going to mix it in. And it right away will start, see how it's getting thick? I'm going to add a little bit more, and I'm going to break up all of those lumps and make it smooth again. And it's starting to get thick again. You can see how it's getting thick. I'm going to add some more milk. So each time you add milk, you need to whisk it until it gets to a thick consistency again. So that's thick. See, it's starting to thick up again, and it's boiling, getting thick. I'm going to add a little bit more again. This is the key. If you add all of your milk at one time, you're going to be sitting here stirring it for probably 15-20 minutes for it to thicken up. It'll eventually thicken up, but you want to do it slow like this, where you let it cook a little bit to thicken up. See how it's boiling and getting thick? I'm going to add just a little bit more. I poured a little extra in my measuring cup of what I needed. I'm not giving you exact ingredient amounts today because each of these recipes for size will be a little different in how much you need, and I want you to follow the recipe for your amounts. I'm only showing you technique. So see, it's starting to thicken up again. Kind of show you, see how it's getting thick. Add a little bit more, and that's probably all I'll add today. I'm going to let it cook there for a few minutes, and I'm going to stir my pasta, which I think is just about done. And see the boiling again? Starting to boil and thicken up a little bit. You need to stir it with your whisk almost continually because you sure don't want it to burn or stick to the bottom of the pan. And we're going to stay at medium or a little bit under medium heat. Okay, that's about the consistency that I want it for this project. I'm going to turn my burner off and kind of let it start cooling down. And I'm going to add my cheese to it. All of the recipes that we use are going to be different. So for this recipe, I have some Velveeta cheese, and I already have it cut into chunks so it'll melt faster. I've already turned my stovetop off, so now it just needs to melt. So I'll add that and mix it around just a little bit. Once again, it's still hot and boiling a little bit, even though my stove top is off. So I'm just going to leave it sit there and melt for just a little bit. I'm going to stir this. We're just about done while this is finishing its melting. So this sauce can either take about 5 minutes or it can take 20 to 25 minutes if you do your roux wrong, or when you start mixing it for your cream. So make sure you're watching each other and that you're doing the process, pouring in just a little bit of milk at a time so that it thickens up. So see how this is getting creamy. I use Velveeta because it melts down so well into a cream sauce. Some of your other cheeses, even though they have a really good flavor, kind of get stringy. So when you eat them, you have strings in your sauce. There, this is almost done. Get the cheese off there, and I'm going to stop stirring it with my whisk. Put that to the side. And then I can kind of give it a stir as it's finishing melting. Now this is done, so I'm going to turn my burner off. Let it settle down a little bit. I am going to add a little bit of pepper to this recipe. And it already has salt in the cheese, always has salt in it, so that's plenty salt. And then I add salt to my pasta. I'm going to empty this. I'm going to drain it really quick. I'll set it here to the side. I'm going to give my sauce a little mix again. You can see how yummy and creamy that is. Now I'm going to just add that to my pasta. I'm going to use a rubber spatula so I can get all that cheese in there. This is drained from the colander, so there's no water left in it. And I'm going to just add that to the pot. And give it a stir. Oh my goodness. There we go. Homemade mac and cheese from scratch. I wish you guys were here to eat this with me because this is quite a bit for me, but I'm going to do my best. So thanks for hanging out with me and good luck on your roux.